it could get noisy. A very good afternoon from me. I'm off to the market. It's a lot later than I would have liked to have gone, because there are people out and about and I'm not a people fan. So ideally I would have liked to have gone 9 o'clock this morning, but I didn't wake up until after 11, so here we are. Anyways, so I am now beginning the first leg of the walk, the 2.2 miles walk return journey. So obviously it's this time of day, so it's going to be noisy, but the weather's pleasant compared to yesterday, so hopefully my hand won't freeze. Yes, so there's quite a bit to post since my last video. So the last one I posted, I believe I did that on Tuesday, and actually I did 2 on Tuesday, and one of them was to do with my sister's friend getting in contact with me. I first knew her and that group of friends when I was in my late teens, in the early that would be the early 80s to mid 80s, and so they just know me as my sister's little sister, you know, party, fun. But many years have passed now. I am in my 55th year, so the idea that I should still be, I mean, I'm still built on the same foundation, obviously, but the idea that perhaps you've not grown from who you were at that point, and you would categorize me, which is what people do, as the same as you, as though I have the same standards and principles, does not wash with me. I don't, I can be very patient when I choose to be, but I use patience, I use all the different attributes, if you like, strategically. So I will just cut to the chase and cut you off if I'm busy, if I'm tied up with something else, I can do that. But if I want to string it out as a cat would with a mouse, then I will do that. So with that friend on Monday, I said what I had to say, and then what did she do? She contacted another friend. So that was Wednesday, I believe, yes. So, no, on Tuesday, this friend, I found her very rude, but that's neither here nor there. So she called on my sister's phone, and you know, as they do, because they've all got their little health problems. So the sick sympathize with the sick after a fashion. But as I've said to people, I don't do sickness, I don't do doctors, I don't do these things. I'm not saying that I don't get sick, I just don't accept it as my status. The only statuses that I accept are the things that I haven't the power to do anything about. So for example, if I'm sick, as I'm walking down the road now, I'm not going for myself, I'm going to the market to buy turmeric for my sister who is still ill. So what I'm doing now, it's not for me, because I look after myself. So this friend, the other one, called my sister, and she was so damn rude. I probably would have punched her in her mouth if she'd been around, if she was speaking in the way she was in my presence. Not that I'm a violent person, I have good self-control. But anyway, she, so obviously my sister can't walk, can't write, can't type, can't read, can't do anything, because she's got vertigo and other issues. I mean, I have to feed her even. And these people, they know nothing of the situation. but nevertheless they pitch in and they know best. So she requested my sister's address, which I typed. It was a WhatsApp call. I typed the address while she was on the line, and so that was that. And we dressed back forward because I'm on deadlines. I got jobs to do, limited sleep, jobs to do, deadlines to fulfill, people coming to collect, jobs I need to deliver. So I've got my own focus as well. So then the next morning, so this was Wednesday morning, I wake up and there's a WhatsApp message for my sister, and it's from her, and she's in that weak way that sick people who are prone to accept sickness as a status. In that weak way, she's addressing my sister, and I don't remember exactly what I said to her in response, but then she said something, and I said, "Don't let me curse you." I mean, I don't swear, but I won't say the word, but I'll write it. So I said, "Don't let me swear at you." And I told her to tell the other one, I wrote it, to F off. As I said, I don't swear, but I will write the word. And then she started doing the "how dare you" routine, and I just went in for the kill, and so on. So then she started to pull. What I will do is, when I want to finish somebody off, I will draw them in. So I will draw them, and they will come out and say the thing. So I feel like I will set up their lines. I will set up the thing that I want them to say. So what I wanted her to say, I wanted her to come out and pull the friendship card, which she did. She pulled the friendship card, and she said she and my sister are very, very good friends. Yeah, so they go all the way back. Do very, very good friends get in touch, 10 months later. So my sister's been ill on and off since April. And none of these people have got in contact. The one who called on Monday only got in contact because it was sending her the standard generical Happy New Year message, right? So that's what she was doing. That's why when I responded last Sunday, I don't even know what date, I think that would have been the 3rd of January actually. So that's how she knew that my sister was sick. And then she flew with that from her perspective, according to her limited understanding. She flew with that and contacted that friend. So that's why I told the friend to tell her to F off. And then I started dropping the F-bombs on her as well. And so when she pulled the "oh, we're very good friends" card, I said, well, why don't you and the other one come and look after her? So she then volunteered. We would be there in a hurry if it wasn't for lockdown. So you see, these people, they care about you so far as, they obviously are going to protect themselves first. So that's how they do care. They wouldn't put themselves out. They wouldn't prove their friendship. They just sort of like talk in terms of, if it wasn't for this or it wasn't for that, I would. Right? So I don't know how many times I've said to people who have said, if it wasn't for this. So I said, well, throughout my sister's illness, I've been saying to people, if doesn't do anything. You can say if as many times. The bottom line is I'm the one who's doing everything. If I was the type who bought into sickness, and if I didn't look after my own health, by now I too would have fallen ill with the schedule and the limited amount of sleep that I managed to get. So for me, it's a mind over matter thing. But obviously, when people are dumb and stupid, you can't speak to them. So that is why I will go straight in and bash them over the head and just say what I have to say. And then later that day, some flowers arrived from Moonpig and a card. And obviously I didn't want these things around me because I'm sleeping on the sofa in the living room, and this is where the flowers would be displayed. So I asked my sister, I said, are you able to arrange these flowers yourself? And she said no. And I said, well, she knows what I think about her friends anyway. And so I said, well, I don't want them around me. What would you like me to bring them in here? Meaning into her bedroom. Now I don't know how much these flowers cost, but I should think it's quite a bit of money. And for me, the laziest gesture that a person can do for someone is to send flowers via email. Sorry, not via email, order them online and have them sent. Right? So I'm sure, because by now they wrote in 2 other friends. So these flowers and this card were sent from 4 friends. I know all of them. Like I said, back in the 80s, I used to go to their parties. They're older than me. So the one who contacted me on Monday, I sent her a message and said, your flowers arrived. I'm sure my sister will enjoy them along with your love and hugs for dinner. So making the point that your flowers are not going to do anything for her. Right, and I'm not a flowers person anyway. I just look at them as inconvenient. I've already said I've killed all my sister's plants, not deliberately. I just don't have green fingers. I can cultivate things outside, but not house plants. So in the end, I said, I'm going to throw these flowers out because the energy that had been incurred with the conversations, the last thing I wanted was to be looking at anything from these people. So that was that. And I have, since Wednesday, I've switched my sister's phone off because she can't talk to anyone anyway, and she can't ring anyone. The one who phoned on, she didn't, she messaged on Tuesday and Wednesday. She mentioned social services. So because I dealt with her in the manner that she deserved to be dealt with, she assumed that my sister is at risk and mentioned something about contacting social services before damage happens. And so this is the level of intelligence that you're dealing with. Now, stepping away from that, when Donald Trump had his rally in America recently on the 6th, and for whatever reasons it went how it went. Now you've got idiots rejoicing. I don't know what it is, why people, even the person who can't wipe their own backside thinks they're more intelligent than Donald Trump. You've got people who've absconded from their countries because they couldn't, people like from say Zimbabwe, that was being run into the ground, if you like, by Robert Mugabe. They ran away and they've pitched up in the UK and in America, in other parts of the world, and they sit there mocking. So they're there mocking, they are currently rejoicing that Donald Trump has been banned from all social media. And they are so dumb to understand that this is the future. If they can do it to him, what will they do to them? They don't realize that they left where they came from because it wasn't working out for them. And so they've come to the West, where they're living at their leisure, and they believe, and because they're full of so much hatred for this one man, I'm talking about specifically people who have left their countries, not people who were born and bred, but people who left their countries to go and live in America or Britain or wherever else in the world where they sit criticizing. So it doesn't matter how I say this, and I've said this on many of the videos, I am gonna come across as having my head up my own backside, as being arrogant, as being whatever. But I've just finished having a conversation on Facebook with someone. I posted to the effect that if you cut out a man's tongue, you don't prove him a liar. It says more about you being afraid of what he might say. So I am a past master at this kind of behavior. Much of what I talk about is based on my own personal experience. So for example, when I was going to church, one of the leaders, not just that leader, but they used to have their little meetings, and they would, if you weren't towing the line, they'd sort of try to draw you in. So one of them actually let slip in a rage that he'd told people not to let me teach or give talks. And I said, well, that's fine, because I don't need to give talks or teach. But what I would do, I said this in response, and I'll come back to that in a second. Said this in response to someone, that I would just sit at the back of the class and answer questions, and people, most usually visitors obviously, because the ones who don't know you don't know anything about your reputation, they would turn around, and at the end of the lesson, without fail, they would come up to me, they would group around me, in fact, wanting to know more. Did you go on a mission? All sorts of things, because I look young for my age. I think they were sort of a bit more blown away by that, because I've had this where it was said to me that for such a young person, you're so wise. And I think they were thinking I'm sort of like in my early 20s. This time I'm in my mid 30s, right? So people go according to perceptions. So in response to one of the ones who objects to Donald Trump, he posted something, because they come with their small intelligence. I made the comment what I just said about them banning me, but I was still able to teach by virtue of sitting at the back of the class answering questions, heads would turn. So I still and also making comments, so I was still inputting into the lesson. And as well, there was one teacher, we're sort of going back 20 years ago, there was one teacher who would actually ring me. The teachers, when I used to teach, it was sort of like once a month. They had 4 teachers and you rotate. So this one particular teacher, she would ring me up or send me a message on a Saturday night and ask me if I'm coming to church, because by then I was sort of leaving. I was halfway in and halfway out, because it was just, not worth it. So then she would get in contact with me and ask me if I'm coming, because she was German. She saw the value, right? So some people have eyes to see and ears to hear, and they have sense. Others don't. They just see you as a nuisance. So she would contact me, and then she'd say things like, I need you in the class, because she wasn't sure that how it would go. So what would happen is sometimes they're teaching, and if I see that it's not going, they're not getting responsive, then I pitch in, because I'm that kind of person. So I'd pitch in to sort of bring the lesson back up. So she was aware of this. And I mean, one time she said to me that I'm streets and miles ahead of others. In fact, on a completely different planet. And we're going back 20 years ago. Now, given that I'm all about self-development, if I was streets and miles ahead 20 years ago, where the hell am I now? You know, so, but the thing is, it's just any random idiot will come along and try to tell me how it is. This morning when I woke up, there was a comment. I was commenting on a YouTube video yesterday with regards to Michael Barrymore and who's responsible for the death of the man who died at his house. And my view is that he should take some responsibility, because on that basis, for me, if I invite people somewhere, then I need to know who they are. I need to know, you know, their standards. They need to know what is expected of them, etc. So I made comments like, I don't mix with people beyond when I go out socially. I don't I have very few friends. I can count them on one hand. One guy assumed 5. I have fewer than 5 friends. I also said I don't socialize with people in my house. We meet on neutral ground. I don't go to their house. They don't come to mine. So I said all sorts of things that people would not begin to comprehend, because as we know, there are people who are trapped in under lockdown and they can't cope with it. And I mean, as for me, life is normal. I'm in my element. I'm loving it. It's not made any difference apart from there's no clubbing, there's no partying, etc. That's all. That's the only difference. But you know, we should be able to, with, you know, if we're the kind of people, which I am, who practice self-development. We should be able to. Gosh, I forgot to go to the bank. I'm gonna have to walk back now. We should be able to make adjustments rather than, oh gosh, I can't do this, I'm at risk, I'm depressed, blah blah blah, whatever. Let's see if they've got what I want. Want turmeric? Oh, they just got the little silly ones. Right, I have to go somewhere else. Yeah. Where did you go? Yeah. So you get people making such comments based on, you know, their own smallness. So as I said at the top, sometimes it depends how I want to deal with it. I will string them out, which is what I did on the video, the Michael Barrymore video on YouTube. And my final comment was I dropped, I woke up and someone said, oh, some party with 5 people. Because obviously, if I said, when I host and organize parties, when I do that, I make sure that the guests know what's expected of them. So again, a small person, some party with 5 people. So what I did was I said, the 5 people don't necessarily make the cut. I invite people who enjoy what I do and invite them to invite their friends to capacity 250. But, you know, talk is cheap, right? So what I did was my party that I did on the, I'm going to stop because there's someone out there playing music and it's going to get noisy. What I did was I just attached the link to the party that I had in 2016 with like packed venue with Jocelyn Brown as the artist. I dropped that so you can see the evidence. So it's not just, like I said, talk is cheap. You need to drop evidence on people sometimes. And so I dropped that and I've not heard anything back. Had I heard anything back, my next comment was going to be, I paid £9,000 for Jocelyn Brown to come and sing for half an hour, and I let everyone in for free. But I didn't need to go to that length, you see. So what happens is sometimes you got to put people in a position so they can understand that you are not the same as them. So it's this thing with people judging Donald Trump as not even as the same as them, but as worse than them. I tell you, the time will come when all of this is going to blow up in their faces. Anyways, I got to go to the cash machine, so see you guys later.